Hello again, folks. Back here in the kitchen. And 3 hours later, this is what we're left with. Alright, we put a little flour on the meat. The flour helps to thicken this up a little bit. Okay? And you remember those caramelized onions we made? Well, I just put a little bit in there. And about 20 minutes ago. And one little scoop of them. And stirring them around, that's going to add a little bit of a sweetness to it. Not much, don't fear. It's going to add a little bit of character to the dish. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do what we said. We're going to remove. Now, make no mistake, you can eat this right now, and it's going to be fantastic. But the next step is to take the meat out and the pork out and discard all of these vegetables, because what these vegetables have been doing, basically, these aromatics as they're called, they have been imparting all of their flavor into the stock. So when you eat them now, they'll be a little on the bland side. They won't really have a lot of flavor to them. All the flavor will be in the surrounding liquids. And if you want a good old-fashioned beef stew, well, the way this dish is presented is sautéed onions and sautéed mushrooms and pearl onions are put into the stock, and the stock is thickened, and then they're put into the stock, and then the meat goes back in, and then it's served. It can be served on mashed potatoes. It can be served on rice. You can serve it with potatoes in it. So what you do is, if you want to make it on a beef stewy side, when you get to this phase, you still discard these vegetables. I mean, like I said, when it comes out of the oven, you can eat it right away. No one's gonna fault you for it. You're gonna get all the flavors in there. The vegetables themselves might not be as poppin' to you as they could be. So you take all this out, the meat goes back in, the pork goes back in. If you like, you can put potatoes in there, like the little baby potatoes I showed you, with the mushrooms and onions. You can put it over egg noodles, you know, a nice the ribbon pasta, really anything you think you can do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to thicken this liquid up a little bit. I'm going to put the meat and the pork back in, and then I'm going to freeze it. And I'll show you some pictures of a party I got coming up on the 3rd week of December. Yeah, you can make it this week. This will freeze for 6 months. So you get it all done in advance. You get a day you want to do a little cooking, this will get done in 6 months. And then this will go for 6 months. So in a couple weeks, I'm going to take it out of the freezer, thaw it out, put it back on the stove. I'm going to check the thickness and thicken it up a little bit more, and then I will add mushrooms, onions, and I'll have to think on that one a little bit, because I'm going to make this into a bruschetta. That's right. A large piece of toast, and on the toast will go, see those caramelized onions? These are going to get frozen too. Alright, now if I was going to serve it right now, I'd put this on the bottom of the bowl. Alright, a little layer of caramelized onion, and then these all the veggies, it's like a beef stew kind of thing. And if you got rice going, you could do that as well. I don't know about pasta. Pasta, you might put a little of this on top of your dish or something like that, but this will get just a little reheated and it'll be fine. What I said about getting rid of the fat, it's at this phase where this can go in the refrigerator. Alright, this can go in the refrigerator with the meat and the pork on its own, and if you see the little different colors of the liquid there, see how this brown and then this golden, you know, that's the fat. That's the butter, the pork, the olive oil. There's not too much of it there, you see, but there's enough so that if you let it chill in the fridge, then you can just come with a spoon and just scrape it right off, and boom, no more fat. So, let's see where we're at here. Let me bring this to a boil, and I'll show you a little thickener. All right, and then you go in your own direction. All right, 1 second. All right, what have we here? We have some beef stock and a little splash of the Gravy Master in there. And Gravy Master is basically just caramelized sugar and spices, and a little bit of soy in there. It's not going to really go bananas flavor-wise either way. We don't really want too much to affect that. It will give it that nice dark color to it too, though. So we like that. So we have here a little bit of stock that we split off, and we got it rolling boil. There's a little bit of onion and stuff in there. Try not to lose your cool over that. All right, so we bring that up to a boil, and now most chefs worth their salt will make a roux right now, and a roux is flour and butter, and the flour is cooked in butter and browned slightly to get rid of that floury taste and make it a little bit of a nuttier taste to it, and it can be burned, so it's not too tricky. You get the hang of it once or twice. This method is a whole heck of a lot quicker, and for something like this, which has a ton of bold flavors in it already, this is the way to go. So what we'll do is we're going to get a little bit of hot water. All right, super hot water. Hot. Okay. We got a little bit of hot water here. And this is cornstarch. Okay, we're going to take the cornstarch off. We'll take a spoonful of cornstarch. Something like that. Little heaping little thing of cornstarch like that. You know, so whenever I do this, I always go back in for a little bit more of everything. That's what I do. That's a tell. Okay, hot water. Not too much. A little bit of that. Get your finger in there. Get your finger in there. Move that around. It's going to be pasty at first, and then it's going to turn into like a milk white liquid. See that? Just milk white starch. And what does starch do when you add it to boiling water? Listen to that. Instantly, it becomes a cauldron of bubbly, thick goodness. The starch has quadrupled the thickness of the stock, at least. And as you can tell, it's going to start boiling up, getting rid of some more of the water. So we will turn it down. And then we're going to take this little bit of beef stock with cornstarch in it, nice and thick. And it's going to go right into here. Now this is a Creuset pot that is drip proof. It is not a $900 pot or $700 pot. See how it drips on the side? I don't know if you can see that. It is a $75 pot. 50 bucks on sale maybe. Le Creuset, I don't know if you can see that. Le Creuset comes with a nice lid. It has a little vent on it there. Release some of the steam. Any damage to this pot whatsoever, it goes back. And they send me a free one, a new one. But we digress. So we've got a thickener in here. And when we heat this up, look at that. That looks like chocolate syrup already. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Jesus. Okay. Now, as you can see, look at that color. And yes, that's just a Jackass 101 here. So look at this color. All right, it's dark. It looks like chocolate, just melted chocolate. It's not quite that thick, but we don't want to thicken it up too much just now. Now, if you were to cook this off, If you just bring this to more heat, more water will evaporate, and it will thicken on its own. We are going to leave it as is. We're going to re-add back in the meat. Okay. Comme ci, comme ça. I'm going to shut this down and let it cool. Now, as you see the little things floating on there, you got a little rosemary, little herbs and such. Now let this cool in the fridge, and we're going to skim off the fat off the top, and it'll pick up a lot of this stuff. And if we were feeling really self-conscious about the look of the dish, we would sieve it all off, your cheesecloth over a strainer, and you just get nothing but the liquid. But we don't care about that. We're peasants. So this is done. Fridge, skim the fat, take it back out. I'm sorry, yes, overnight. Sorry, 24 hours. Take it back out, skim the fat, and then you're going to add potatoes. You're definitely going to add mushrooms. Mushrooms are supposed to be in this dish. Mira way, mushrooms. Put the mushrooms in there. Onions, pearl onions if you're feeling fancy and you want to peel those tiny little bastards. And it's ready to serve. Throw some potatoes in there. You can throw in carrots. You can put celery back in. You can put in more onion. You can put all the aromatics back in. And if you cook it on low for about 40 minutes, bring it to a boil, and then drop it down to simmer for about 40 minutes. You'll cook through the carrots and the other stuff. Potatoes, cut them bite size, and they'll cook through. And you've got an amalgamation of the original, which is just mushrooms and onions, and the beef and the pork, and that ridiculous sauce. And then you can just add to it. Throw, green beans, throw whatever the hell you want in there. All right? It's your creation. Okay. Guys, it's been a blast. And I think, yes, I think I'm going to make beef bourguignon bruschetta. Okay? Big pieces of toast. Okay? With the marks on them. And then the caramelized onion, and then I'm going to super thick this gravy. You thickify, if you will. And then the meat and the few vegetables and a little bit of fresh parsley over the top, and then just a ladle of gravy. Ladle of the bourguignon sauce. Julia Child would slap me upside the head if she ever heard me use gravy. But you know what I'm talking about. Right over the top. And then, so the toast is done in advance. And then those are just servable like that. Or in a bowl. Knock yourselves out, guys. It has been my pleasure. Welcome, Aria. Welcome, Cindy Lou. We completely went up on that. Oofs. Little one that's just joined us as well. We have 2 little rascals coming into the club. Probably taller than the gnomes already. Okay. Bye-bye.